What's up, y'all? It's your boy eBay Fight Predictions in the building, and this is your top 5 threats video. And now we're up to the road to UFC 287, and this is when the top 5 threats series ends at UFC 287 in Miami. But let's start off this week and let's talk about the middleweight division. Top 5 threats to Alex Pereira. Middleweight's kind of interesting right now. You got some key contenders that are still making their ways, and you got some guys in that division that are doing a bunch of nothing, like Paulo Costa. You know, he's irritated my soul, and that's why I have exiled him from this list, because he doesn't want to compete and fight. So Paulo Costa, when you decide to be a competitor, I'll add you to this list. But you know, besides that, the middleweight division's so weird right now, because it's like it's in a weird like resurgence kind of time period, because I do see some legitimate contenders coming up, like Brendan Allen. I'll bring him up here, that are really coming up, that are coming to their own and becoming really great. And then you just got these weird situations where you got guys like Nasruddin Chimaev or Andre Muniz just not living up to their potential, and I don't know, it's just a weird issue. And then you got Chris Curtis and Sean Strickland, that weird duo. Then you got the Marvin Tories and the Kelvin Gastelum, still trying to figure out if they're just gatekeepers or title contenders. And then you got Robert Whittaker and fucking Adesanya, that's just above everyone. And then you got Alex Pereira, the father of Izzy. So it's such a weird division to really describe, because it's like bad and good at the same time. I don't know how to really tell you guys how I feel about it. I was more of a fan of it when, in 2018, I thought the division was at its best, and at least from 16 to 18, that was probably some peak 185 years. That division was fucking banging. But right now it's just so weird. Then you got Dricus Duplessis, and it's just a lot of nonsense. But yeah, man, Alex Pereira is the champion of the world. I think that guy, you match him up right, he beats a lot of motherfuckers on the feet. I think he beats Jamal Hill and Yuri Prochazka, unless Yuri wrestles. But I think he beats them both. And it's crazy, because that guy, I'm done doubting him. I mean, and he's just a motherfucker. What he did to Strickland, man, that's aged pretty well for him. Because I thought Strickland beat Cannonier, and I thought he beat... I don't think he beat... He actually did beat Nasruddin Chimaev, so I actually got Strickland on a 2-fight win streak, and he beat that guy. And Strickland's solid, man. He's a solid workhorse kind of fighter. And Alex Pereira is phenomenal. And then what he's done to Adesanya, being the ultimate hater... You know, some people call me the ultimate hater, but Alex Pierre, I got nothing on that guy. That guy is a different breed. He has decided to ruin Izzy's life. And I fucking love it. I love it, man. Alex Pereira is a man. He is a fucking man for sunning that dude at MSG and ending the evil, tyrannical, boring, finger painting, pink hair rocking, weirdo titty boy era. You know, I got a lot of love for Alex Pereira for that. But yeah, he got a lot of contenders, and I've always said it. His biggest hole is his wrestling, and I think everyone else knows that. So there are some contenders that can wrestle, and there are some guys that could expose him there. So it's going to be interesting to see how it goes down, but hey, it is what it is. But yeah, so let's talk about top 5 threats to Alex Pereira. So at number 5, I'm going with the guy he's going to be running it back with for a 4th time, Israel Adesanya. The reason why I got Izzy so low on this, even though he could potentially win this rematch that he's going into with Pierre, I just feel like Alex has his number. Can Izzy beat him? He's shown us that in a 25-minute fight, when there's 5 rounds, he can be up 3-1 going into that 5th round. You know what I'm saying? He can take Pierre down. He's shown us that he can stand his own on the feet in distance and being super, super cautious. But anytime that guy got in the pocket with Pierre, there was legitimate danger and there was legitimate fear from Izzy that he knew there was a potential knockout coming. And I just feel like you're gonna see the same thing that happened with Usman gonna happen to Izzy. Is he's coming back a little too soon, and that guy put it on you. There's no other way of describing it, but he put it on you and he beat you, right? And he beat you in the 5th round when it mattered. And there's just something about getting beat by somebody you really don't like, or you really don't want to lose to. And I could tell Izzy, that was one fight I felt like Izzy, he gave it his all in that training camp, I feel like. And I'll obviously describe it more in my breakdown, but to lose to a guy like that with that kind of history is very, very soul crushing. It's debilitating. I don't feel bad for him because he's got everything he deserved that night, but it is soul crushing to lose like that in that fashion to a guy you don't want to lose to. It's the same thing with Daniel Cormier and John Jones. It's just somebody you just don't want to lose to, and that's what makes them your rival, So, hey, it is what it is, but I just think Pierre beats him if they ever were to run it back. Or when they run it back, my bad. But yeah, I got Pierre beating him. But Izzy could win that fight. He really could. He shouldn't be doubted in that rematch. But yeah. At number 4, I said his name before. Brendan Allen. You guys know I'm a big Brendan Allen fan. I've been promoting this kid on this channel for a very long time. I've been saying it that he's the truth. He has a main event opportunity against Jack Hermanson, and I think he can beat Hermanson. I think sky's the limit for him. Yeah, he's chinny and this and that. You guys can say all that other stuff. Chris Curtis sunned him. Sean Strickland owns him. Blah, 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 blah. In a rematch is completely different, but whatever. You guys don't want to hear that. But my point is simple. I think Brendan, if he was to take Alex Pereira down, he mauls him. I think it's just that simple. And with a lot of these guys I'm going to bring up, it's the wrestling X factor. I'm always going to bring that up. And I think Brendan would give Alex Pereira a lot of problems on the ground. Now, obviously, I have to give the edge by 1,000, maybe by even 1 million to Alex Pereira on the feet. I just think the KO power and the fact that we've seen Brendan Allen's lack of durability plague him. It's been an issue for him, and I actually thought he was kind of losing on the feet to Anja Muniz at moments. But I think Brendan. I think sky's the limit for Brendan Allen. I think he can really become a legitimate guy in that middleweight division, and I can't wait for him to really succeed. So yeah, that's number 4. At number 3, I went with Marvin Vettori. It's kind of same reason with Brendan Allen, wrestling X factor, but Marvin's way more durable than Brendan, and I think Marvin has a real legitimate 50-50 chance against a guy like Alex Pierre. I think it's a toss-up. Real talk, I think Marvin, he's tough, decent boxing, and he goes forward and he can wrestle at a high clip. And we've seen him do it against guys like Kevin Holland, guys that are in his way. He can out wrestle a lot of guys. So he was able to take down Paulo Costa. So we've seen him wrestle a decent high level guys and control them. And Pierre just doesn't have the wrestling of a Adesanya, of a Robert Whittaker, guys that have defended Marvin's takedowns. He just doesn't have that, and I think Marvin could give him a lot of problems too. I think Marvin's style is just a tough style to crack. You can see you got to be the very, very best to be Vettori. You have to be a Robert Whittaker. You have to be a Adesanya. You know what I'm saying? It's tough. Guys like Paulo Costa couldn't crack that puzzle that Marvin applies. So I think Pierre could knock him out. I could see it. I'm not saying it's impossible, but Marvin legitimately eats head kicks for breakfast. You know what I'm saying? So that's a tough fight. It's a tough fight for Pierre, and I think Marvin beats him. At number 2, I went with Karate Kid Rob Whittaker, and a lot of people are probably going to be pissed at number 1 because you're not going to suspect it from a guy like me. I think Robert Whittaker is a dummy. The reason why I got him so high, though, is because he's so much better than Marvin. He proved that. He's so much better than Brendan Allen. Now, just give Brendan Allen a few years. He might turn into fucking God. All right? And I actually think, just do the size difference between Izzy and Rob. Izzy's better than him. But for skill, I actually think Robert Whittaker is better than Izzy. Just skill for skill. Just saying. But I think Rob's so skilled, you have to put him at a high like ranking. If you're ever making a top 5 threats video for Alex Pereira, you have to put him either number 1 or number 2. But the reason why I have him at number 2 is because I just don't think he's smart enough to really wrestle in this matchup at a high clip. I think he will give too many moments on the feet to Pierre, and he will play that game. I don't think he's going to shoot 1,000 takedowns against a guy like Alex Pereira. I just don't think he will. Against Kelvin Gastelum, go watch that fight. Yeah, he took him down a whole bunch, but there's a lot of moments on the feet still. You know what I'm saying? So I just feel like there's just too many opportunities for Alex Pereira in a fight against Robert Whittaker for him to chin check Rob, and Rob is showing that he's chinny. And I'm sorry, like, some people love calling other fighters chinny, but when you call Robert Whittaker chinny, they get like, I don't know, they just, they start crying. You can't call Karate Kid Rob chinny. Or my precious Whittaker. You can't criticize him. They start crying. And it's so weird. It's so weird. Because he's been dropped by Yoel Romero. He got knocked out twice against Izzy. He got dropped by Darren Till, ex-UFC fighter. Darren Till. Fucking, oh my God. He got staggered against Cannonier. And yeah, these guys are heavy hitters besides Till. But still, he got smoked by Wonderboy a while back. It's just, as much as, like, yeah, Rob is so skilled and he's a good fighter, I could see Pierre really smoking him, but I had to put him really high on the list, because if I would have put someone like Marvin above him, you guys would murder me in the comments. So that's why I put Rob so high. But at number 1, this is going to be very, very surprising for you guys. The number 1 threat to Alex Pereira from eBay Fight Predictions is Mr. Bumzat Chimaev. My boy Bumzat. I think Chimaev, honestly, is your next middleweight champion next year. I said I didn't know if Chimaev was going to make that jump to 185. Who did I say was going to be? I think Paulo Costa. I put Paulo Costa there, and I think they're going to do Paulo Costa versus Chimaev. Now, I'll probably pick Costa, but if they do Chimaev versus Whittaker, y'all, I'm saying it right now. This actually pains me to admit this. I might actually pick Chimaev to beat Whittaker, and I know it's insane. People are going to call me crazy for it. I think he can chin Whittaker. I think just one instance in the pocket, boom, boom, GM3 style, smokes him. And then Chimaev versus Alex Pereira will be one of the worst beatdowns of all time. I think Chimaev at 185 is a monster. I think that's always been his real weight class. The 170 venture was the dumbest thing in the world. I think he's an overprivileged clown in that weight class. He's given everything. The bosses just were trying to give him everything. He just became so unlikable. But at 185, I really thought about it. I'd actually change my opinion on him a little bit if he was able to destroy Robert Whittaker and get rid of the trash and that. And then I think he'd become champion right away. I think 185 should have always been his weight. I remember Henry Cejudo was saying that. He said he should have never been at 170. Never been at 170. He's always should have been a 185. I remember when he fought GM3. And he just did that to GM3. And yeah, he did, he had his Li Jingliang fight and, he had his other fights. But what he did to GM3, a guy that's a consistent workhorse fighter that wins a lot of fights that he, more than he loses fights, basically. And he was just able to smoke him. Just the athletic potential at 185, what he's able to do in there. I think, and just obviously, the lower the weight class you go, the skill rises up, in my humble opinion. And He's just as fast as a 170 guy. He's just as skilled as a 170 guy, but he has a 185 frame. And if he goes to that 185 division, which is just so weak, I think he'd be God in that weight class. I really, really do. He'd run over them like with an iron fist. So I got bummed at Chimaev at number one as my number one threat to Alex Pereira. I think he sexually assaults that man. Legitimately, I think it would be really, really bad for him if they were to compete right now. So yeah, that is my top 5 threats to Alex Pereira. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Go follow me on my Instagram and my Twitter. Like, comment, and share the video. Let's get this eBay Fight Prediction Nation going. Love y'all and goodbye.